Hey, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show. Thanks for tuning in to the Mike Wagner Show on Anchor FM. If you're interested in sponsoring my show, you can send me an email to the Mike Wagner Show at gmail.com, or you could also donate to the podcast. Just go to the Donate Listen site, and you can also donate whatever you like. Anchor is the easiest way to make a podcast. For those who are interested, Anchor can give you everything you need in one place for free, which you can use right from your phone or computer. We got creation tools, allows you to record and edit podcasts so it sounds great, and they'll distribute the podcast for you so it can be heard everywhere. Spotify, Apple, Google, many more. And you can make money from the podcast with no minimum listenership. So download the Anchor app for free or go to Anchor FM to get started.
It's now time for the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, iTunes, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and the MikeWagnerShow.com. Mike brings you great guests and interesting people from all across the globe. So sit back, relax, and enjoy another great episode of the Mike Wagner Show.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all you need. Look on a professional website without breaking our budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today at 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 10% off your first order. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can check our Facebook page at Facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, Radio Public, iTunes, Google Play, Deezer, Stitcher, and more. Take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. Also follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. We're here with singer, songwriter, and pianist Fuller French, deep in the heart of Texas here on the Mike Wagner Show. He's drawn some really serious praises as of late with a growing fan base, and of course he's drawn some great interest from Carole King, Lourindo Almeida, and Burt Bacharach, and more as well too. And of course the guy doesn't speak French. He's just got some great music out there. We're going to play Champagne Rendezvous, one of the latest from Capitol Records that's out, number 29 on the charts with MK Smith, and he also left the key by the door, which is at number 36, and he just has a lot of great work, just a very, very unique blend. He'll tell you more about that. Right now, deep in the heart of Texas, here in this beautiful day here's Fuller French on the Mike Wagner Show. Fuller, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Well, hey, Mike, thank you so much. I'm really thrilled to be here. What an honor. What an honor to be broadcasting from North Dakota. I can't believe it. What's the weather like up there?
Well, take your pick on when it airs. You know, it can be sunny and warm, sunny and windy, cold and rainy, cold and windy. You could have some snow. It could be pleasant. So it's like, take your pick, but I like to say it's always sunny and pleasant. Even if it's 40 degrees, you know, people run around in shorts. Isn't that something? So
that's perfect.
That's amazing. And of course, there's one question I want to ask you. Although your name is Fuller French, do you actually speak French also?
Oh, comme ci, comme ça. A little bit here and there, you know.
Oh.
Not fluently, but I can speak. I know the key words. Let's just put it that way.
Oui.
Oui.
That's right. So you're a singer, songwriter, pianist, and you also got an album and a single called Champagne Rendezvous on Capitol Records, and you also have a song called I'll Leave a Key by the Door at press time. It was at number 36, and you've worked with some really good players like Lourindo Almeida, Carole King, and Burt Bacharach. A lot of praises, and you just deliver just a really, really unique sound to it, and you've got a lot of interesting projects. And before we get into all of that, tell us how you first got started.
Oh, my gosh. Well, you know, I grew up in Midland, Texas, kind of the center of the oil patch in West Texas, and I played the piano. I took lessons for 5 or 6 years when I was younger, and then started writing in college. And just kind of developed a style over a period of time. I really, like every kid, I wanted to be a rock star early on. You know, playing, heavy guitar or whatever. And but I eventually recognized that my abilities really were in creating what I'd call romantic music, beautiful music. And anyway, it just developed over time, and spent some time in California, recorded a bunch of music. Nothing ever happened with it at that time. And then later on in life, somebody discovered it and released it, and it's kind of taken on a life of its own after that.
That is fantastic. And what was that one precise moment that influenced you into writing beautiful music? Being compared like Carole King and Burt Bacharach and more, and I listened to it, it's like, sounds of Burt just kind of just pops out in front of me. Beautiful music, possibly making a comeback.
Yeah, well, I met Burt in the 80s. I knew him a little bit, and he was such an influence of mine. And I don't know, maybe I emulated him a little bit in the beginning, but his music to me is so beautiful and so romantic and all that. And I recognize that that's really what I like doing, is creating music similar to that. And I worked with a lot of great musicians throughout the years, and got with a great producer named C.J. Vanston, and we kind of created this sound for Champagne Rendezvous, and it just kind of took on a life of its own. But that's the style of music that I write today. That's where I am today, and it's ever evolving. But I do love every kind of music that I write, every song that I write. I love that it has this element of romance and mystery and all that. So I just continue writing songs like that.
That is fantastic. I'm looking forward to what you got. And who are some of your other favorite artists and singers and musicians growing up?
Oh my gosh! Well, Elton John to me is good as it gets. But I grew up listening to all kinds of music. Glenn Campbell was a favorite of mine. I like Southern rock, like the Allman Brothers, Leonard Skinner. I mean, these are things from the 70s. ELO was a big one for me. Incredible songwriting from Jeff Lynne, and I can find beauty and elegance really in every kind of music, and so it's hard to pigeonhole exactly what my favorite is, but I like a little bit of everything. I'll tell you another big one for me is the bossa nova. I listened to every bit of bossa nova I could when I was younger, and continue to this day. I think that's the greatest music that's ever been written and or ever created, and I listen to it all the time.
That is something, the bossa nova, and I haven't heard that in a while. And how about something along the lines of bossa nova? It's like, what do you enjoy listening to? Like, say, with salsa and the waltz, flamingo, and everything, and maybe some of the other, like, the real specifics.
Well, yeah, those are all great. But, the bossa nova emanated from Brazil and was really kind of created. I think the artist that I worked with, Lorindo Almeida, is credited as actually creating the bossa nova sound in the early 50s, 10 years before. We all know The Girl from Ipanema, the great song from the 60s.
Oh, I love that song. Except I'm afraid to sing, I'll probably lose all my listeners.
No, I bet it'd be great. But, Antonio Carlos Jobim wrote that song in the 60s. But 10 years earlier, Lorindo created the sound. So he worked with me on a song that I wrote called Brazilian Sunrise. And, that was in the early 90s. It was really one of the first songs. That actually may be the first real complete song that I wrote. And anyway, but the bossa nova sound is just, to me, it's just so cool, so beautiful and romantic and timeless.
Mm-hmm. Very timeless indeed. And we're going to go and play your title track from Champagne Rendezvous in just a minute. But first, listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs at below the competition way. Call today at 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 10% for first order. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can check our Facebook page at Facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, Radio Public, iTunes, Google Play, Apple, and more. Take the Mike Wagner Show on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. Also follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. We're We're here with singer-songwriter, pianist Fuller French on the Mike Wagner Show, deep in the heart of Texas. And we talked about a lot of the beautiful sounds that he talked about, like the bossa nova, the jazz, and more as well, too. Right now, here's a title track from his latest, Champagne Rendezvous, right here on the Mike Wagner Show with Fuller French.
Un jour, je vais partir pour tous les jours avec toi. C'est seulement toi et moi ensemble.
Oh, let's do this again. Like tomorrow.
Le soleil est pris dans la mer.
How about the day after?
C'est magnifique ça.
Let's do it every day.
Oh là là.
You and me in a champagne rendezvous. Maybe we could take our time in a cafe by the shore. Let's roll around the shops all day, stop in and get some more. It really doesn't matter much to me just what we do. I'll have champagne this afternoon with you. Let's fall into the pool, you say, we'll pop a cork for more. There's no one to see but to lay and see, and they're not keeping score. And blue skies are in your eyes, tan red skin is bare, and the cool warm breeze whispers through your hair. A secret day awaits us, yet here we are. So all aboard this tender deer, our yacht's not very far. As day succombs tonight, we'll do as lovers often do. And I thank you for giving me merci beaucoup for our champagne rendezvous.
Le champagne, c'est délicieux. Qu'est-ce qu'on va dire? C'est parfait, toi et moi. Alors, allez-y, bonne soirée.
Whew, boy, what a song, I'll tell you that. Oh, my goodness. Fuller French, Champagne Rendezvous here on the Mike Wagner Show. I mean, I was getting into it. I was just about out of breath on that one. Tell us more about the song. What inspired you to write it?
You know, it was a crazy thing. I was in Capitol Studios mixing the title song for my first album, Something Wonderful. And late in the mix, I went out to the live room, and the piano was there, and I sat down, and I hit the first chord of the song. And it hit me immediately what that song was going to be about. But it's all about, you know, being in this romantic, beautiful location with, you know, the girl of your dreams and a lot of champagne and yachts and you know, sunshine and great stuff like that. But the south of France came to mind, and that's just really how it all came about. I just pictured a location and kind of came up with the rest.
And then how many times have you been to France? You talk about it.
Yeah, I've been a few times, but you know, as with every song that I write, it's really, I don't know that anything is really based on real life. It's all, you know, imaginary, you know, idyllic and idealistic imaginations is really what I you know, what I try to portray in the music. That
is fantastic. It's like, I love it so much. I'm ready to get a yacht and get some champagne myself and doing a rendezvous.
Let's do it. Come on, I'll go with you. Come on.
Oh, definitely. I mean, if it was on video, I was up there dancing. But the thing is, if I try to dance, I'd probably just drive away some people. But then again, people would get up and start dancing too. This is a great song.
Oh, well, thank you.
And of course, you worked with N.K. Smith as well too. And how did you guys first come together?
Oh my gosh! Well, the people in my PR group, they knew M.K. Smith and said, "Hey, listen, we need to do a remix, and this guy is the best." And you know what? They were right. He was incredible, and he did an unbelievable job. He's such a student in music. And listen to the song, something like 100 times to kind of really understand exactly what it was all about, and learn what the essence was, and created this incredible sound. I'm very, very happy with it. And he's a great guy. We did a photo shoot together, had a great time, and looking forward to working with him again.
Oh, that is amazing. I just love how you guys just come together. And you also have a song out, too, which at the time was number 36 on the charts as well, too. I'll Leave a Key by the Door. And tell us more about that song and what inspired you to write it.
Oh, my gosh. Well, okay, so that was I lived in Los Angeles in the late 90s, and I lived next door to this a girl named Cassandra Denver, and I wrote the music for this song, and she came over one day and said, what are you working on? And I played the music for her, and she started singing the chorus to she just kind of came up with the words right on the spot for this I'll Leave a Key by the Door, come on, baby, we can just be friends, whatever the lines are. And it just exploded with this whole story. So I wrote the rest of the verse and sang the song, but just by living next door to her, it kind of came about. I had this instrumental song that I thought was going to just be a quirky little thing, and then all of a sudden it became a song because of my next door neighbor. You never know how things are going to come about or what's going to inspire you to do things, and that was a little bit of serendipity there.
Very inspiring indeed. We'll talk about some of your other music as well, too. But first, listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs at below the competition way. Call today at 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support at sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 10% off your first order. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can check our Facebook page at Facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, Radio Public, iTunes, Google Play, Apple, and more. Take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. Also follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. We're here a singer, songwriter, pianist Fuller French from deep in the heart of Texas here on the Mike Wagner Show. We just heard the title track from Champagne Rendezvous on Capitol Records. We also talked about his other hit, I'll Leave a Key by the Door. Also some other works, including Something Wonderful, Brazilian Sunrise with Lorindo Almeida, as you talked about. Also Echoes and Waves Against the Shore. You can just tell us about those.
Echoes, well, yeah, I'll tell you about Echoes. This is, wow, I wrote that song. At the time when I wrote that song, to me, it just had such a bossa nova feel, and I wrote some lyrics to it, and I sang a demo for it. And I knew a guy that was a good friend of Frank Sinatra's, and I thought, Frank Sinatra had not at that time put out any new material in years, and I've got to get this to him. I think it'd be a great song for Frank Sinatra. Mm-hmm. So I called this friend of mine, and he said, "Oh, you need to go over and talk to Danny Schwartz. He lives next door to Frank at Tamarisk in Palm Springs." And Anyway, I go over and I meet Danny, and he brings me in and he says, "Oh my God, this song is incredible. Yeah, I'm going to give this to Frank, and maybe we'll hear something soon." Well, anyway, he gave the song to Barbara, Frank's wife, who listened to it and, according to Danny, loved it. And Barbara put it was a cassette back then. They didn't, CDs. We didn't use that. We didn't record on CDs back then. It was a cassette. So she gave put the cassette on Frank's bedside table on top of a tape machine, which Frank had just bought. Uh-huh. And he didn't know how to work it, right? So it was sitting up there for a long period of time.
Oh my goodness!
I know, seriously, for a couple of days. And then all of a sudden, Frank had a friend he was killed in a car wreck at that time.
Oh, my.
It just totally sent Frank off the rails. And, of course, the last thing I wanted to do was, interject myself into that. So I just let it go. But, it was one of those dreams that just kind of faded away. But I like knowing that Frank's wife loved it and Frank almost got it. And it was nearly a song that Frank, I like thinking that he might have sang it at some point, but it never happened. So anyway, I recorded I took my vocal off of that song and recorded my friend Craig Stoll, who's this unbelievable guitar player, and he played the melody over it, and we released that as a single a couple of years ago, and it got, I don't know, it got to like 30 on the charts or something. It did pretty well.
Amazing. I can imagine Frank singing, "I'm going to do it my way."
Yeah, exactly.
or learn how to run a cassette player, too. "I'm going to do it my way," and forget the instructions.
Yeah, I know it.
Oh, my goodness. And what are some upcoming plans you have for 2020 and beyond?
2020, wow. So I'm writing some new songs right now. Again, more of the romantic, love songs. But I'll tell you something. I've got some music that's going to pop out in the next year or so. That's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be something that people haven't heard before. More, kind of fun dance music that's still romantic, still a little mysterious, but a little bit more fun. And that's coming up in a year or so.
That sounds amazing too. I'm looking forward to that as well too. And what do you consider your most funniest moment? Like you had either if you've been on tour or you're in a recording studio or just somewhere along the way, especially when it comes to music.
In terms of, I don't know, but I'll tell you something. Talking about this fun music, this the music that's going to come out in a while to get people on the dance floor and moving. I'm getting a little tired of the social distancing, Mike. I'll tell you that. We got to get past this and get back together and, enjoy the music and start having fun again.
Mm-hmm. And of course, too, it's just like, we're definitely, further than 6 feet, I guess, say that, thanks to new technology. but if you do come up here to where I'm at, it's like, I'll let you definitely come within 6 feet, and, give you a hug and everything else and say thank you for coming out and, being on the show as well, too. And, and just a couple of things right here. Fuller, love to have you back on, sometime in 2020 or so. You've been great. Who do you consider biggest influence in your career?
Oh my gosh! Well, family and loved ones are such a great influence for me, and support. I've had such wonderful support over the years, and I've got a library of a great record collection too. I'm listening to records all the time, music all the time. So I'm influenced. I'm learning all the time about different kinds of music, and I'm just influenced by surroundings, by everything, by my environment, and I try to reflect that in my music and with a positive attitude and a little bit of romance and mystery. That's really it.
And I think that's the way to go as well, too. And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
Well, the best advice really is to A, not give up, and B, for musicians, it's important to get out and play. When I was younger, when I was trying to get started, I never would play live, and that was a big mistake. I spent so much time recording demos and sending them out, but the reality is people want to you need to develop a following while playing live, and people like to see that people like watching you play live, and that's what's really gonna get people excited about it. So I would encourage anybody to who's trying to be in the music business to go out and play live and write, play live, and perform and just be seen.
Mm-hmm. And as soon as the social distancing is over, where do you plan on playing? Like, say, later in 2020 or even 2021, or should we say before this whole social distancing? Where did you plan on playing?
Well, I'm going to be at Madison Square Garden, Hollywood Bowl, things like... No, that's a big joke.
That's about maybe 10, 20 years down the road. Yeah,
exactly.
We'll pencil you in. Okay. Yeah, he's coming.
Yeah, I'll be there, but I might be the only one there. That's but no, I'm going to, I want to play everywhere. Whatever will have, whoever will have me is where I'm going to play.
That is fantastic. Once again, Fuller French, singer, songwriter, pianist here on the Mike Wagner Show. I'd like to big thank you for your time. You've been fantastic. Looking forward to having you again soon. And one more thing, tell us about your upcoming projects. What's your website? How do people contact you? Where can people purchase and listen to your music?
Mike, buddy, it's been a real pleasure. Thank you for having me on. If anybody wants to hear anything, it's at fullerfrench.com. I think that'll take you everywhere you need to go.
That is fantastic. Once again, Fuller French, big thank you for your time. You've been fantastic. Looking forward to having you on soon. Do us a favor. Keep us up to date. We'd love to have back on sometime in 2020 and beyond. You've been great.
Sounds good, Mike. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to The Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and themikewagnershow.com. Please support our program with your donations at themikewagnershow.com. Join us again next time for another great episode of The Mike Wagner Show.